So Nisha, since it's tangentially related to the topic at hand today, do you have any strange talents that freak people out?
Yeah, I freaked Adam out the other day because I can move my nostrils on their own, like flare them, and he was just like, what the fuck?
That is weird. At the height of America's vaudeville boom in the early 20th century, one of the best known and best paid performers was a man called Frank Cannonball Richards. A large, imposing figure, Richards' act consisted of nothing more than standing there on stage and showcasing a very particular skill, a stomach that was seemingly impervious to all forms of harm.
I was going to say, I wish I had a stomach like that because I had a takeaway last night and I've had stomachache today, so it's like...
Oh, no. Do you want to name and shame the takeaway?
No, because it was a good meal. They've got 5-star ratings. It's just I knew myself. I was eating too much.
Oh,
I could feel my insides just ready to explode. But it was so good, and we were so hungry because we had to wait an hour and a half because they were so rushed off the feet.
Yeah.
We had to wait
for some inexplicable reason.
Yeah.
You can explain it. Maybe it's because everyone's stuck inside with nothing to do, but
they're probably the only takeaway open, so everyone's just going there. So yeah, moving the conversation on to Richards.
Yes, and away from takeaways.
You mentioned earlier that he had a stomach that was impervious to harm, which I think is a very weird, specific thing to figure out. So how did he come about that?
Well, it probably won't surprise anyone to learn that Richards discovered this skill when he was drinking with friends. And Richards, being a man, and men being stupid, would like to spend some of his time drinking with his friends, hurting himself for fun, which is something I can confirm men do when they're drinking in groups together. And to refer to you, Nisha, for the female perspective on this, does that surprise you at all?
Not really, no.
It's so obvious. I have had so many drunk nights with mates where it's just, what should we do? It's, I don't fucking know. See if you can hit me with that stick, or shoot with a Nerf gun or something like that. And it happens all the fucking time. Just men are idiots.
I gain injuries from when I've been drinking, but they're always accidentals, never on purpose.
Oh yeah, but with men it is. There's so many nights out I've had where it's okay, let's see if we can header, insert random object you probably shouldn't try and clonk with your melon. And it's resulted in numerous injuries. My favourite example of which being a time I was at a friend's house, obviously drinking before a night out.
Yeah.
And there was this large iron bar in the room. We don't know where this large iron bar come from, but my friend fancied himself as a martial artist, so started spinning it around, just screaming the words "Gambit," and it flew out of his hands and hit someone in the head. And the guy was like, "Oh, fuck's sake, you've ruined my hair." And he went, I shit you not, got super glue and glued, the gaping wound on his head back together.
Oh my God.
Got some makeup from, one of the girls upstairs, covered it up, did his hair again, it's fine.
Oh no, that's grim.
Yeah, because that's just men. But I think it's safe to say that Frank Richards was the king of the dumb, drunken man bet.
So yeah, we've established that men can do a lot of stupid things when they've been drinking.
Oh yeah, for sure.
So how did Richard discover it was his stomach that seemed to be invincible?
Well, have you ever seen the film Crocodile Dundee?
A long time ago.
Okay, well, there is a scene at the start of Crocodile Dundee in which they establish the titular Mr. Crocodile is very, very tough and badass, because they show a huge buff Australian man in an outback bar taking part in what might be the most Australia thing ever committed to film, which is a drinking contest where you put a pint on your head and then get someone to punch you in the stomach.
Ooh.
And if they can make the pint spill, they owe, you owe them a drink. If they can't, they owe you money. So basically, punch you in the stomach. If you can make me flinch, you win.
Yeah, it kind of reminds me of the iron crotch exercise. Have you seen that?
Oh, the Shaolin monks do.
Yeah.
Where they invite people to kick them in the balls. And people just kick him in the nuts, and then they get tired kicking him in the nuts.
Yeah.
And the monks is like, what else you got? Well, speaking of martial arts, that reminds me of a film, and I forget the name of it, it's going to annoy me. But it's where two down on their luck martial artists are hustling some people in a town by standing there and going, who can make my friend cry out in pain by punching him in the stomach? And obviously people come up from all around and do it, and then one guy comes up and does it, and the guy doubles over, but he doesn't cry out, and the guy goes to him, that punch didn't even hurt. He goes, I know, I'm trying to get him to spend more money. And the guy puts 100 coins in the pan that they've got and punches him in the stomach 100 times. And then he puts like the metal pan in the way just as the last hit and goes, we counted, you've got to pay again if you want to try. It's just, what a great hustle that is. Like, what an amazing just bar hustle. Just punch me in the stomach. Why? If you can make me wince, I'll buy you a pint. I'll fucking do that. And you might think that sounds stupid, folks at home, but remember, one of the surefire ways to make a shit ton of money if you own a bar frequented by, like, you know, insecure men is to get one of those punching machines put in them.
Oh, yeah.
So have you ever seen how mad drunk guys go for those machines when it comes to, like, trying to show off?
Yeah, don't they, like, try and punch and then miss and fall over?
Oh, there's so many videos online of that happening. But, like, you'll always get as well, like, the huge, big, buff dudes will go up to it and hit them for the high score. And my younger brother, who is built like me, but he weighs half as much, he knows how to throw a proper punch. So he knows the thing to do to, like, make those machines basically get the max score. So one of his favourite things to do on nights out was just go up. Like, you know, obviously, really skinny, tall guy goes up, puts his money in, and then just really quiet, boom, straight through, racks up the score like to 100, and it's like, okay, and he walks off, and he spends the rest of his evening just quietly watching all the huge buff drunk dudes try and top the score, because they don't know how to throw a punch.
Yeah.
And,
man. God, it reminds me of like when I used to go to the gym. When I had the motivation to go to the gym, I used to do
when the gyms were open.
Yeah.
I miss when the gyms were open. Instead, now it's just takeaways that are open. It's not a good time, though. England's suffering.
I used to do a boxercise class, and there was one session I had to pair up with this woman. I didn't know her, but she was like a bit older than me, and we had to do like a sort of kind of like a boxing match between us. Like it was just like a part of the exercise, and she kept hitting me in the stomach, and I was like, ugh.
Why are you doing this? It bears mentioning for people who may not have experienced it, but being punched in the stomach fucking sucks. And like, best case scenario, you're winded for a few seconds. Worst case scenario, you pass out and vomit. Like, there's a lot of stuff around this area that's quite sensitive and shouldn't really be getting punched. And like Frank Richards, for some inexplicable reason, one, didn't feel any pain and never suffered any sort of like lasting injury from having people do this. And it eventually got to the point where he realised I could probably make money, or more money than I'm doing now from, like, you know, bar bets, just doing this on stage. The problem for Richards, though, when he took his act to the stage, is that it's very difficult to tell at a glance how hard someone is punching, especially if you are showing absolutely, like, you know, no reaction to it whatsoever. So he very quickly developed a number of additions to his act, which included handing random members of the audience everything from baseball bats to metal pipes and inviting them to swing as hard as they felt like at his midsection in an attempt to make him wince or flinch.
Ugh.
Yeah, like, think about
that must have been fun for the audience.
It was like, what a great family day out that was for the people at home. And for people wondering, he did still allow people to punch him in the stomach, but what he'd normally do is just invite the biggest person in the audience to come do it. Or, if he couldn't find one, he'd outsource it and bring in a professional boxer who was local to the area.
So you mentioned he invited boxers. I'm wondering, were any of them famous boxers?
Well, at least one of them was, because one of the boxers he got into his show once was the heavyweight champion at the time, Jack Dempsey, a man who, in addition to being, like, you know, super huge and buff, was known for his crushing punching power. And in many of his fights, he was capable of, like, you know, winding, if not outright knocking out an opponent with a single haymaker to the gut. And Frank Richards took not one, not two, not three, not 4, not 5, not 6, not 7, not 8, not 9, 10. He took 75 Jack Dempsey punches in a row to the stomach without flinching.
Jesus. Yeah, that's insane. Like, even one punch would knock me straight out, so I can't imagine having 75 times in a row.
I think one clean, unguarded punch from a heavyweight boxer would, like, you know, fell almost any normal person. So the fact that Frank Richards gave Jack Dempsey 75 opportunities to hit him as hard as he could, unguarded in the stomach, and then walked away with no apparent injury is fucking incredible. But, like, even that pales in comparison to Richards' most famous act, and that was allowing himself to be shot in the stomach by a cannon.
Yes, I'm currently looking at a picture of Frank Richards now, and it looks familiar. Like I might have seen it in an episode of The Simpsons before.
Yeah, it did happen in an episode of The Simpsons. And the episode, I think, is Homerpalooza, where Homer becomes a travelling performance artist who gets shot in the stomach, is a direct reference to Frank Richards, to the point where one of the shots of Homer being shot in the stomach is an almost perfect recreation of one of the only known pieces of footage to have survived of Richards doing the same thing.
So yeah, this whole thing is crazy to me, but I'm going to assume the cannon itself wasn't a real cannon and was like kind of specially made?
Yes, a real cannon would have gone straight through anybody's body. Like, real cannons were designed to obliterate the human form. So it was a specially made cannon, and the technical details of it will be listed below. So it wasn't the kind of cannon that you see on a battlefield somewhere, but it was still capable of launching a very heavy projectile with enough speed and velocity and momentum to kill a normal man. Because obviously, like Frank Richards was a pretty beefy dude, and he stood there and it still knocked him down. And Nisha, I'm assuming, like the audience owning, you're probably thinking, well, was this something Richards did like once, or like, you know, for a special event, right?
Yeah, because doing something like that repeatedly would definitely cause injury, like definitely. At some point, yeah.
And like in the Simpsons episode where, like, you know, they reference this, Homer gets told straight up, if you do this one more time, you will fucking die. Making this one of those rare situations where reality is stranger than fiction, because not only did Richards never suffer any kind of injury we are aware of from doing this, but he did it twice a day, every day, for over a decade as the standard ending to his act.
Jesus.
And if you're thinking, well, why did he do it twice a day? Because according to him, if he did it 3 times a day, he started to get a little bit of stomachache and he didn't like it. That's the only time. He said, if I do it 3 times a day, it hurts a little bit. So I'll do it twice a day, sleep it off, and then do it twice a day the next day as well. Just like I'm just in awe.
I know. I'm just like he makes me sound like so weak for eating food.
And remember as well, people need to keep in mind that this is how Richards would end his shows, which he did 2 of per day. So immediately prior to being hit by the cannonball, he's had people swinging baseball bats and sledgehammers. Because I forgot to mention that he let people do it with sledgehammers at his stomach, and then invited the biggest guy in the audience to swing at him as well. And then he ended it with the cannonball, and he did it every day, twice a day for 10 years, and then lived to be, I shit you not, 81 years old.
How did he manage it? What? I don't understand.
Exactly, and I almost think he lived that long out of spite, just to say fuck you to all the people who said it was a stupid idea to stand in front of a cannon twice a day. I'm just now standing here in awe of the amount of punishment like Frank Richards could take without showing any outward sign of pain or discomfort, because fucking hell, that man was an absolute beast.
It just seems so insane, because like I've had it before where I go to the pub for, say, 1 singular pint, and the next day I'm suffering, like just wounded. So, my body's just like, nah. It's literally nothing. Everything hurts.
Yeah, I've had some fairly gnarly injuries, like nothing like that's even remotely close to that. But the one I had most recently is when I was building furniture in my flat.
Yeah.
And I had a big delivery, so a big flat pack. It's like 5-6 pieces of wood all in a single box. I pull them all out in like one big chunk, pull them out of the box, and then one of the pieces of wood slid out and went straight down and landed directly on the middle of my big toe.
Ooh.
And I looked down, and do you know that thing where your sock starts to feel warm? And you can't tell as if it's because is it because I've got a bruise, or is it because my foot is bleeding? Have you ever had that? Like when you drop one and you stub your toe and it feels like you feel warm inside your sock.
Oh, if you like stand on a plug or something.
Yeah, so I very slowly took off my sock and looked, and my entire big thumbnail had just gone black. So I looked at it and went,
shit.
I guess I better just put my sock back on.
And pretend it's not there.
I'm just going to pretend it's not there and hope that in a few days it stops being a big deal. Well, that's like the one I had most recently. So have you had anything similar, like any quarantine injuries?
Quarantine injuries? Not a lot, really. I think the one I get the most when I'm at home is just cutting myself. Like, if I'm cutting, like, vegetables and stuff, I always end up, like, chopping into my thumb.
Oh, man, I had that the other day. I was, like, cutting a lime for my beer. That's right. get you 5 a day, I need beer at the same time, you're going to stop me. But it's like a really sharp knife. So you do that thing where you slice through one of your fingers and then lime juice goes straight. It's like, no!
I just remembered I did get an injury.
Okay.
At the start of lockdown, I burnt myself on the oven.
Oh man, that's the worst. Like burning yourself on an oven. It's like, why would you betray me like this? Why would
I've
you
done
do
it
this
like
to me,
numerous times. Because like it's the one where you go to get the food out of the oven and your hand like kind of touches like the metal like shelf.
Yeah, I've had it many times.
I do that so many times. And I'm kind of used to it now.
It's like the one of when I used to work at a kitchen, and we used to have like the boiling water like tap. Which I don't know why they invented that. It's like it's the most dangerous thing in the world. It's a tap that just like sprays out at like max, like the same level of pressure as those things people use to like clean cars in the car wash, like boiling water. It's like I remember just like haphazardly once, like I come in with a hangover and went, oh, I'm gonna get myself a glass of water. I went to the wrong tap. Just boiling water all over. Ridiculous, man. You don't need that.
Imagine using that tap on a teaspoon. You know when you clean a teaspoon and it just goes everywhere.
If people want to
dangerous game.
Yeah, that's it. It's the most dangerous game. I'm glad you remember that. Because you can confirm, can't you, Nisha? Like, one of my favourite things to do when I'm in the kitchen is for people who don't have to go, hey, would you like to play the most dangerous game? Like, what's that? And I will put the tap on full whack and then put a teaspoon underneath it and try and catch the water in the teaspoon as the water flies in every direction at once. For no reason. Just, what the fuck are you doing? It's like, who dare hold the teaspoon under the longest? I get so many people with that.
Yeah, I think I last about 2 seconds at most.
Everyone got too scared. Everyone is too scared of the water because it goes everywhere, man. It's crazy. Just like, it's just one of the things, hey, do you want to play the most dangerous game? What? Oh, I'm such an idiot. And talking about Frank Richards just no-selling a like full power punch or baseball bat swing to the gut just makes me think of one of those super awesome moments in fiction that I adore, and it is when character is punched or hit and doesn't react at all, and the person swinging at them just goes, oh fuck no, what have I just done? So with that in mind, is there any examples of that spring to mind for you that have like, you know, been bubbling away in your head while we've been talking about Frank?
Yeah, isn't there a scene in Hot Fuzz where Simon Pegg's character, I forgot, obviously Sergeant Angel.
Yeah, Nick Angel. Yeah, Sergeant Angle.
Yeah, he like goes to hit Lurch.
Oh yeah. He hits him, he doesn't move. It's like, oh fuck, I've got to fight this giant dude. And fun fact, that guy, he plays the Hound in Game of Thrones.
Oh yeah.
He's the same actor. And like, you know, I think they have something similar in Game of Thrones, don't they? Where people either hit him or the mountain. And like, what the fuck are you doing? I'm so much bigger than you. Because the one that springs to mind for me, and I apologise, it may be a spoiler for Yakuza 7, because right at the end of Yakuza 7, spoilers, you fight Kiryu, the main character from the previous 6 fucking games, and he is established throughout that series as being just this almost mythical figure who is like unbeatable in one-on-one hand-to-hand combat, to the point his nickname is the Dragon of Dojima. That's how tough he is. And throughout those games, like, you fight endless waves of enemies. Like, nobody beats him in a fist fight. And there's even a detail hidden away in one of the games that is, it's a hazing ritual for gangs to make new members go fight Kiryu because he's so tough and he beats everybody up. It's like, you've not earned your stripes as a crime man until you fought Kiryu and survived. And your character, who throughout the game has beaten up his fair share of men himself, runs up to Kiryu and throws a full power punch directly at him, which Kiryu stops with his forehead without flinching. It's like a prop like forward, boom, right in the centre of the forehead, and he just takes it. And your character goes, oh no, oh no. And he's like, I am so fucked. That was
like done fucked up.
That was the hardest hit I had, and it just missed. And the king of this has got to be Dragon Ball, though, because there are so many times in that show where someone swings at another character and they punch them and they do the thing where they turn their face around, their fist still buried in their cheek. And I think the fight
always makes me laugh, those scenes where like a character's doing like so many punches at once, like 1,000 like per second, and then the person's just dodging them with like no emotion, no sign of like actual effort, just.
And since you mentioned people throwing thousands of punches, like, we have to mention Kenshiro. If people don't know about Kenshiro's a fucking badass, and like, in the same vein as people like just no selling like the most tremendous unholy amount of punishment. There is a scene in Fist of the North Star where it's like some shit's going down. So, oh wait, who's that over there? Is it Kenshiro? And he's walking in a straight line and a building falls on his head. And he walks through the building.
I was going to say, he walks straight through it.
He walks through the building. And then after that happens, someone picks a fight with him. So, what are you doing? Why would you try and fight that guy?
Yeah, why would you see that happen and go, yeah, I can take him?
I can do it.
No.
It's so, I fucking love Kenshiro.